Come experience life as we know it, as some of you should know it. Yeah, yeah. Place, Marcy, Brooklyn. Actions. Well, y'all know the actions.
Front Stoop, what's poppin'? It's your boy, Sim, the Power Father. We got E-Rule, we got Tony Crow in the building. And we got some stuff to talk about tonight. E-Rule, what's poppin' with you, bro? How you feeling?
Chilling, man. I'm glad to be here, man. I love doing pods with you, man. I haven't seen you in a long time. Good to hear your voice.
Yeah.
Let's get it popping, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Tony, what's poppin' with you, brother? How you feeling?
Likewise, feeling the same. Fresh off the, Nicks and Bruises pod. Now we're gonna jump on the stoop and talk about some real life OG talk.
OG talk, man. It's brand new show, ladies and gentlemen, called OG Talk. Well, we're just gonna talk about some real stuff. Whatever comes out is gonna come out. You know what I mean? But we want people to participate. We want you to be part of it. I think it's going to be dope. And the concept, ladies and gentlemen, you see this is labeled coming of age, kids becoming adults. In the beginning, you just heard the Jay-Z and Memphis Bleek coming of age, right? Basically, every topic is going to be named after a hip-hop song or a hip-hop album, but it's going to be a topic that we're discussing in real life, about real life. You know what I mean? So tonight, we're talking about kids becoming adults. I have some experience with that, You know what I mean? I got some experience with it, and it's not easy. It's one of the toughest things that you might ever go through. You know what I'm saying? As a parent. But Tony, I know you got some things that you got some on your heart right now.
Got a bunch of things. I'm glad I could always, call on you, lean on you for advice. You know what I mean? And work through things. But yeah, man, my daughter, she's about to graduate, you know what I mean? About to be 18, an adult officially, you know what I mean, on her way to college. And it's gonna be, it's been a transition, before this time.
Yeah.
And it moves fast, man. Life does not slow down. It feels like yesterday she was, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Everything
was daddy this, daddy that, couldn't separate us. And now she wants to be on her own, with her friends. I'm excluded from things, and it's a tough transition.
It is.
So
it is. I just I have a son that's 30. My daughter's 21. She'll be 22 in a couple of months. You know what I'm saying? So I've been there twice, and it's a tough transition from the time that they're little babies and they're following you around. They want to do everything that you do. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden they grow their own mind. You know what I'm saying? And they start to make decisions on their own. And they don't want your help making those decisions. That's a tough transition.
Well, you got both, man. So how was it with the boy and the girl? You got the older boy and the younger girl. How was it different with the two different things?
It was a lot different. You know what I mean? Because having a son, I want him to go out there in the world, right? And my expectation is like, you got to figure this thing out.
Go make a mistake.
Go make a mistake. And I wanted my daughter to make mistakes too. As a matter of fact, I actually wanted my daughter. I wanted her to stay a little bit closer because I didn't think, like, when she was graduating, because I felt like she needed to mature a little bit more. You know what I mean? I felt like she was kind of impulsive in her decision making. My son, he's a homebody. He wanted to be home. I wanted him to go far away. I wanted him to go to California or something because, you know what I mean? Because I was like, yo, you need to go out there and experience some things. You know what I mean? But like with my daughter, I always felt like I had a more watchful eye because she was my daughter. You know what I mean? There's always going to be a special relationship, with, between a dad and his daughter. You know what I mean? And, so I'm still always feel like I got to be that protector. And so that was a big difference. And people always, especially women, and be like, well, you should treat her the same way as...
Negative.
It's not going to happen that way naturally because you as a man you grow up learning that you're supposed to protect the woman, right?
Man.
You know what I mean? And so you're going to protect your little girls.
Yeah, boys on the other hand, man, I got 3 boys. I got a 20-year-old. He's gonna be 21 soon. I got a 20-year-old and I got a 10 and an 8. So my little guys, the little guys now, they're like pit bulls behind me, like little baby pit bulls and stuff. So when I'm walking, they're kind of like right there and stuff. So all day long they fighting their mother and stuff. As soon as I come through, I fix everything in 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Now they back to being whatever. The older one, I wasn't living with him, most of the time. So the influence of the mother, you know what I'm saying, kind of like broke that up. So we have a lot of issues, me and the older son. So as the pod goes on, we could talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a lot to get into just about so much. You know what I mean? As with kids becoming adults, because
I'm gonna give a couple of examples. Well, it's really one example, but 2 weeks ago, my daughter calls me Saturday after work. I'm thinking she want to hang out, right? I get excited, pick up the phone. What's up, babe? How's it going? She's like, can you pick me up from the movies? I'm like, oh, you going to the movies? Yeah, no, I went. I'm here. I'm done. The movie's over. Oh, okay, cool. Go pick her up. Drop her off and her friend off, whatever. This past weekend, I call her now. Hey, what's going on? What you doing? Oh, I'm about to go to the movies. Wait, again? Oh, she's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, who you going to the movie with? She say her friend's name. Same boy from last weekend. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like this is a change, something I'm not used to, gotta adjust to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a tough
and
adjustment.
not saying it was a date. I think they just friends. You know what I mean? Going out enjoying a movie.
Yeah,
but
until
in my mind, I'm like, she's 17.
Yeah,
I remember when I was 17.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I mean? Like, they friends until that boy sneaking in through the bedroom window, and I know from experience. All right. My daughter's gonna kill me for putting this out there, but listen.
We all gonna be on the chopping block soon. But,
listen, if she ever hears this, she's gonna kill me. But it was Christmas Eve. I was doing some shopping, right? And we give her a call, say, hey, do you want us to come back and pick you up? No, she called and said, how far are you? And we said, hey, we can come pick you up. We're going to VA. Right, which is just 20 minutes away, whatever it is. She's like, no, that's okay. I'll stay here. Right, but she was supposed to have some shopping that she was gonna finish up. Right, so it's already like, all right, thought you had some things that you wanted to buy. Because you was talking about shopping. For whatever reason, we forgot something. We had to turn back around. All right, so we come back to Maryland. Well, we're not even in VA yet. Right, we head back and pull up to the house, right? And when we pull up to the house, we see this boy jet through the backyard. Somebody, we see somebody jet through the backyard. I'm like, yo,
who's the Grinch?
What is
I
this?
think it was the Grinch.
Right.
A shadowy figure.
What is this? You know what I'm saying? All right, so boom, I go in the house, go straight to my daughter's room, right? She's adjusting the blinds. And I'm like, what's wrong with the blinds? And she comes, some story, oh, this thing keeps on going backwards and da-da-da-da-da, right? I'm like, man, something ain't right. So go back outside and I look down the street and I see a truck down the street. Walk down to the truck, right? And now she was dating this boy, right? Walk down to the truck and I see him. I look in the truck. I look in because I was like, oh, I noticed this truck. That's a truck. Look in the truck. It's him and 4 other boys from the basketball team, right? They're all laying down in the truck. So I call his name out. I'm like, come here. And he's like, oh, right? He comes out and, saying whatever, told him like, no, you need to come back to the house. He's like, do I have to? I'm like, yeah, you have to. You just tried to sneak in through my daughter's window to get in the house. Now you don't want to come back and come through my front door? Right? I was like, you better come on right now. You know what I'm saying? So we get back in the house, pull her in. Both of them are nervous, hands shaking and everything. And, you know, I had this, obviously I laid it into both of them. You know, and then we called his parents. And that night went to his parents' house and all sat down and had a big discussion about, you know what I'm saying, all kinds of whatever. You know what I mean? And basically they was like, you know, we like each other, but we don't want everybody else to know, at the school to know we like each other. So we was just kind of sneaking around. I'm like, yeah, you sneaking through my window. Sneaking around, you know what I'm saying? It was a crazy night. So we spent Christmas Eve at dealing with that situation. You know what I'm saying?
Shame on you.
Yo, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, they grow up and get their own minds, and now you got to deal with their minds. So everything you thought you taught them, you know.
So she got cold for Christmas? You gave her cold for Christmas?
I was actually gonna ask how it was Christmas too.
I mean, you know, I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I have no idea. I have no idea about that Christmas because everything I was, you know what I mean? And this was a small school, right? So this was a small school. Her boyfriend, who he was at the time, his father actually was an assistant coach on the boys varsity team. You know what I'm saying? So obviously his father knew, and you know, he got to tell other coaches, like the head coach, so that they know what's going on. You know what I mean? And so you know, the coaches knew, right? And just not too long ago, just about 2 months ago, when she was back, we were at the gym. And I was telling, no, not 2 months ago, last summer when she got her apartment. And I was telling this one guy, this coach that she was real close with, I said, I was like, yeah, she got an apartment, da da da. And I said, she no longer has to sneak people through the window. He started dying, right? and then he was like, yo, that was crazy, boom, boom, boom. She was like, you knew about that? He was like, of course I know about it. What are you talking about? Like, you know? It's crazy.
I was gonna say the funny part. You said, you know, they wanted to keep it secret because of the whole situation. It became like, I don't know about the students, but now the coaching staffs, you know what I mean? Now they know they gotta be made aware, and
right.
You know what I mean? Your secret is more broadcast than you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you would have ever wanted.
Yeah, it was you know, that it was a time, you know what I mean? And then, you know, here's the thing, and I'm not gonna get deep into some of these things, but along the way, you're gonna find out stuff that they did that you're gonna be like, oh my God. You didn't know that they did these things. But it comes out in the wash at some point. And if you have a close relationship, like me and my daughter had a really close relationship, so I was able to ask, you know, I wasn't afraid to ask her some personal questions. I didn't want the answers to those questions. And I didn't always like the answer to those questions either. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks because I think for years, I know for years, I avoided even, pardon me, I avoided even thinking about, you know, certain aspects of my daughter getting older. And I think me hiding it or trying to like avoid it for so long, now it's like everything is just hitting me at once. Now, granted, this is not even like information. It's just my thoughts of me actually breaking down, you know, possibilities and, you know, everything else. It's just like overwhelming. So I think this may be a reoccurring segment. I know this is coming of age. I know eventually we're going to do daughters, you know what I mean? Like the Nas song and maybe, you know, get more in depth. But yeah, man, it's overwhelming. It's fun. It's exciting. It's, you know what I mean? Like it's so many different emotions all at once. You know what I mean? Like you see aspects of her growing up and being her own person, and you sit back and admire it. You know what I mean? But then you also realize, all right, now she's potentially entering the real world. You know what I mean? It's not. I mean, it's her responsibility to take care of things. Going to class. I keep harping that on her. It's not the same as high school, grade school. We dropping you off to school. Now you gotta go. You gotta get up, go to school on your own. You know what I mean? You're gonna be driving. It's no. We're not the alarm clock. We're not the chauffeur. We're not. This is your responsibility.
Yeah.
You want to go to school.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to school, that's fine too. But these are gonna be your decisions, and it's tough knowing like when to step in and push. When to sit back and let her go. But yeah, I'm gonna be leaning on you, Sim.
Those are the tough parts.
End the show.
Yeah,
because I think the show is gonna help.
It is, yeah, no doubt about that. It's definitely gonna help because I'm still dealing with stuff with both my children right now. You know what I'm saying? You're always gonna be a parent, and always at this now, like with them being the age that they are now. You know what I'm saying? Your conversations really do become different. You start, once you come to that realization that, they got they're independent, they got their own mind, they can make their own decisions, they're gonna do what they want to do, they don't have to come to you for anything, and you come to that, now you can have even deeper conversations with them. You know what I'm saying? Without some parents gonna be judgmental and all that kind of stuff anyway. You know what I mean? But you can talk to them a little bit more like a peer. In my case with my son, I mean, I'm 48, he's 30. Like, I mean, obviously there's 18-year age difference, but I can talk to him like a peer. You know what I mean? And with my daughter, I could talk to her like a peer too. Now, I mean, she's an adult. And she really doesn't owe me an explanation for anything. So
it's funny how that goes, right? The transitions and stuff.
So adjustments that I gotta be prepared to make.
Well, that first adjustment, it has to be like junior high school age, right? When they start really because one thing you're thinking their kids playing with toys and stuff, they might still be doing that. But like you said, there's things that your kids were doing that you had no idea that they were doing at a certain time. I was going through that same thing with my son, because I'm not living in the house. So, for me, it was different. I'm in Queens and they're in Manhattan, so, I used to try my best to stay with him, but I didn't really understand what was happening until it like boiled over in school. So he had a problem with some girls and stuff. Right. So that's the thing, man. You really have to talk to your kids and give them gems at least throughout their life. Yeah. So when things happen, at least they have something to go back on. They can hear your voice and stuff like that. That's so important. Yeah. Right. So anyway, long story short, he was having some problem with these girls, man. Like I just came across some text messages, and they were like some stuff that I would never say to girls, and I'm like a grown man. I'm like, yo, what is going on here? So I'm like, yo, how did you like, what is going on here? So, and anyway, it boiled over into school. So we had to go to the school, right, and whatever. So I'm just talking to him. I was like, yo, man, what is up with this? It was one girl. I was like, what's up with this one girl? That like everybody's fighting over this one girl. It was like a love triangle between him and another girl, and then there was like two other boys too. That it was messy. It was like it was like a Tyler Perry movie. So anyway, we get into the school. So I'm in the office. I'm waiting for the girl's mother to come through. I'm waiting for the girl and the girl's parents to come through. So anyway, this girl comes through. I thought it was the mother. It was the girl that they were fighting over. So when I saw the girl, I'm looking at her. I'm like, yo, that's the mother. He said, nah, Dad, that's the girl. He looked at me. I looked at the girl. I'm like, what the? Yo, she looked like an Instagram model. We talking about she's like 12 years old. Oh my God. She looked like an Instagram model, fam. So when I looking at the girl, and I looked at him, and my son's looking at me like, I try to tell you like that. And then I'm like, what? So then the mother finally came through, and the mother looked worse. So then that was the problem right there. Like it was like the mother was overly sexualizing her daughter. Yeah. So little things like that, man. So I can't even imagine being in a household like that when like the woman just has so much influence on the female like that, and it just kind of like leaves you at a thing because you're thinking your kid is like building up to a certain thing, but it's like bam, it's like it just hits you blindsided. It's like damn, I wasn't ready for these conversations. You know what I'm trying to say. So it was crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even right now. You say you think your kids are building up to a certain thing. Like even right now, I'm dealing with that even though she's 21 and she can do what she wants, right? But I'm still dealing because I've been, we worked so long and so hard for her to play ball and all of this. And she had a setback with some injuries and things. She's pregnant now, right? And it came out the blue. And I'm like, I couldn't react crazy because, when she told me, it was like, it's a done deal now. In no sense for me, like, what am I going to get mad for? You know what I mean? All I can do is ask her, how do you feel about it? And where do we go from here? But, as time went on, I'm like, all right, she was trying to go, she had schools that she was getting ready to go. She was going to Lehman College. She had already been with the team, been with the coach, and all of that. She had everything just about set up. And then boom. Right? So now I got my 4th grandchild on the way. You know what I'm saying? Which is costing me a lot of money. Right? Because I set up like a college fund for each one of my grandchildren. So I'm like, man, y'all breaking me. Because my son got 3 of them. We ain't even got into that yet. He got 3 of them and he's 30. But like you said, like all this stuff, like you didn't know, all of a sudden, bam, she's on a whole different course now. And all I can do is be there to support her. And I wasn't mad or angry or disappointed or anything like that when she told me. It was just a shock because I knew how much she wanted to play ball at Lehman.
I bet you at one point you was probably like in the backyard like this, like,
Yeah, I mean, how
the fuck did that happen? You know what I'm saying? Oh my God.
I mean, all I could do was kind of laugh about it. Like, the hell just happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing right now? You know what I mean? But obviously I'm happy to have another grandchild on the way. You know what I'm saying? And I can't wait to see what she looks like when she got a belly. I'm gonna be laughing at her like a mother, like, yeah.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about that, man. Because it's like almost like the Knicks. Everybody complains about Julius Randle, this, that, and the other, but you forget to enjoy the journey. You know what I'm saying? So, right now it was a shock, but baby's coming, man. So it's a lot of different milestones to hit.
Yeah.
A lot of memories to make, and so much love out there to give that you don't even know you had. You know what I'm saying? So
you know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing. We got a big family and all that stuff, and she's adding to the family now. She's healthy. So, she's healthy, the baby's healthy. She's always sending me all the sonograms, of the baby. Baby already got a big head. All my grandkids got big heads. I don't know what the deal is, but
I got a question for you, Eru, because you say your oldest grew up in a separate household than you, and you also say that you guys kind of have a different relationship than obviously with the kids that live, the two that live with you. Can you talk about that any bit? Like, because I'm going through that same thing. I guess my question to you would be, how much did your relationship with your first child affect your relationship with your new children? Like obviously I would assume it's like, not saying, well, we all make mistakes. So like you learn from some mistakes you made during, your first child and that relationship, and then vice versa. How did your relationship with your 2 youngest translate to your child with your oldest child? I only have one, but she does grow up, within the 2 households. So I know that is a difficult dynamic in itself. I've always wondered, like, even when I was dating some years ago, I thought about, like, do I want to have another child with, with somebody else? And like, how is my daughter going to feel if I'm now in a family dynamic, when she didn't get to experience that? So, I don't know. It's not a direct question, but because I have so many, but if you could touch on that dynamic, and maybe I'll have some specific questions.
Well, I mean, when you have your first kid, man, it's amazing. I had him when I was 23. So I was already, I'm kind of I'm like an old soul, man. His mom is 5 years older than me. I was working and taking care of her and her other kid too, at 23. So, I was kind of like doing too much at that time. But same thing, like your parents kind of just like take a step back. Oh, he's doing what he's doing, just let him figure it out. Because my pops tried to tell me some things, but that's another story within itself, man. But I was just doing that. So taking care of them and stuff like that. So I was with him up until he was like living with them until he was about 3. So that was rough, man, because you want to talk about family court and fighting and this, that, and the other, a lot of emotions. Family court is the worst. I don't wish that on anybody. And I think that kind of messed up the relationship too, because it just kept me at bay, because anytime she wanted to, all she had to do was call the cops on me. And next thing you know, I'm in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely rough. But just for the dynamic with the kids, just because he wasn't with me, like I just felt like I was raising what's my man? You ever seen the movie Fresh?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was talking to my son like he was a grown man a lot. I was like giving him game a lot, talking to him about girls and stuff. So maybe that's why he had that extra experience, because we were just doing so much things that I just felt like he needed to know, because I was only seeing him like I used to see him like 4 times a week.
I get it, but you're not there daily. You're not there at nighttime to tuck him in, whatever the case.
Yeah.
So you got to make up for the absence with information. You're like,
I was going crazy.
Hold this.
Yeah, I was going hard, man. I was teaching him everything. I was teaching him how to do everything: fight, talk, how to interact with people, and just whatever. I always was walking around with him, going to stores, interacting with. I would bring him on the block just so he could see how that is.
Mm-hmm.
How to interact with other people, what's going on, how to be aware, stuff like that. And when like you guys, we all parents, man. So you just want your kids to be prepared. Because
Right.
he also was living in the projects too. We were in the projects, when I was with her. So there's a lot of different things. So I just was talking to him like a grown man, man. So I'm glad I did, because fast forward, I haven't seen him in years, man. To tell you the truth, I haven't seen him. He's 20 now. I haven't seen him. In about almost 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years now.
Wow.
Been trying to talk to him, been trying to pop up on him, different things like that. But it's definitely rough, man.
Yeah.
His mother, I haven't seen his mother physically in 6 years. You know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of relationship we have, man. So it's definitely crazy.
Yeah. That's tough.
That's one thing I have to, be thankful for, and thank God, even though it didn't work out between my daughter's mother and myself, we avoided the court system. You know what I mean? We avoided child support. I mean, obviously we've had our moments where we don't agree, but you know what I mean? We've always been within a 5-minute radius of each other to kind of co-parent when needed. So it's definitely not as bad as I know it could potentially have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's your worst nightmare as a good father. Like I said, I was 23, so I already had it that I wanted to be a father. I wanted to get married. I wanted to have children. So at 23, I already knew that, and I was good at it. I knew what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? So once it came tumbling down, and all that stuff happening, man, I think that I know it broke me. It broke me for a couple of years, man. So coming back from that was tough, but just going by what Sim says, about the daughter, and especially the stuff going on with the son, and even the stuff with you and your wife too, man. When you go through stuff like that, I feel like that's why I think OG talk is important, because like men don't get to really grieve anything. You don't get to grieve the situation. You got to keep it moving.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's it.
Right. Yeah. And part of that is societal expectations, right? We're not supposed to feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got to provide, we got to do this, do that. We're not supposed to feel. So like we don't sometimes, and just say, all right, well, I'm gonna keep moving, and I'm gonna do what, for some men, what society expects me to do, and all right, she did this, I got to keep moving. I got to keep going. I got to keep rolling. That's why, being able to have groups and a support system is important. You know what I mean? For years, it feel like it's been overlooked for men. I think it's more prevalent now, but it's been like overlooked for men to have that kind of support group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Sometimes
needed.
sometimes you need a voice to tell you you're not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need a voice to tell you you are
Crazy.
crazy.
Yeah. Now,
You know what I mean?
Tony, what you was asking, I can kind of speak on it from the child's perspective a little bit,
Okay.
right? Because my mother and father, they split when I was young, and he eventually remarried. Now I knew the woman that he married, and I knew her children, but I was it was me, my mother, and my brother, and like we was struggling. It was bad, you know what I mean? Like bad to the point where, I had to go to neighbors' houses to eat. You know what I mean? Because it was just that bad. And I look up one day, and my father's remarried. I wasn't even at the wedding. You know what I mean? And there's two of us. The woman had two daughters, right? So now I'm looking, right? Obviously, my father got a house on like an acre of land. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking like, okay, hold up. I'm living in the projects. I barely got food on the table. You know what I'm saying? Electricity is getting cut off. My mother's going through all kinds of whatever. And he's like taking care of this woman's children. I didn't even know you was remarried. I mean, I knew her and the kids, but I mean, I'm not even invited to the wedding. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying here, we going through like some serious stuff, and now you're raising these two kids. You know
Now
what I'm
I
saying?
got a bunch of questions.
So like that's from my perspective on how I saw it. Obviously, I had to sit down. I had to find out, what his perspective was, and eventually, things was made right because I ended up going and living with him. But when I'm first seeing that, the first time I heard that they were married and I wasn't even at the wedding, and then I'm thinking of all those type of things. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. And so there was tension between me and my dad as I was becoming an adult.
How old? What was your age when you found that out?
Damn, what
And
age
then
was I?
how long after did you move with him?
I think I found that out, and I was probably 13 or 14. And then I moved with him when I was like 16.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
traumatic, man. That could be traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's deep. And I have my perspective from a kid's point of view as well. And I'll just leave it at my upbringing made me value, wanting to be a father, wanting to be a husband, wanting to be, you know what I mean? Similar to what you're saying, Eru, at 23, I had those same goals and morals at a young age, also based off my upbringing. So, I get it. And that's why I kind of ask, because I know how I think, what I think, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'll be wondering sometimes like what my daughter thinks.
Yeah.
How'd you bring yourself to that conversation with your dad, or did he initiate it?
It really just kind of came in like throughout everything that was
it
going
over
on.
time?
I mean, through like arguments and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Where things
That's
just
how we
kinda,
talk to each other, man.
yeah,
That's how men talk to each other.
where things just kind of come up. The crazy thing is that if I was just included, I wouldn't have had those same feelings.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have those feelings because even when I was about to leave, when I was leaving my mother to go live with my father, there was a point I called my father and I was like, I'm not going, I'm staying here. You know what I mean? Because I was afraid to just leave what I was used to, regardless of where I knew I was going to be going to a better place, but I was afraid to leave what I was used to, because for something new. So I was like, nah, I'm just staying here. Then I didn't know what was going to happen with my mother because of the way things were, but my mother forced me to go. That was an argument with her. You know what I mean? She forced me to go. And so then when I got there, you know, I had some anger towards him, but, you know, we were able to, you know, figure it out.
And
I mean,
it
well,
was
actually, we weren't able to
your
figure it
brother?
out until I was older. We weren't able to figure it out until I was older, honestly.
You and your brother went?
Me and my brother. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not my brother's father, original father, biological father.
No,
But
no, I know, but that also, even in that, you know what I mean, because you there with him, you know what I mean. It's not like you left and he stayed with your mom, or and then like that's a dynamic you gotta think about. But you had him with you there.
he was there.
You know what I mean, in tandem, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like
And-
support. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that helped.
And this is where that started to change my perspective on things, though, because he didn't have to.
Exactly.
My brother didn't have to come. He could have said no. Could have said, but like he grew up, you know, like before he was even married or dating this other woman or whatever. When he would pick me up, my mother was like, "You gotta take him too," and my father was like, "Okay, you know, I'll take him." You know, part of it is because my family's on either side. My mother's family and my father's family are like really, really close, like super close. You know what I'm saying? Like my grandparents were best friends. You know what I mean? So the families were really, really close. You know, so that kind of led into it a little bit. You know, and like, I mean, so close that after I went and lived with my father and my mother, you know, I didn't speak to my mother for a year and a half. I still don't know exactly what happened during that year with her because, you know, she dealt with addiction and stuff like that. I still don't know what happened. All I know is, you know, I get a call about a year and a half later that she's, you know, coming back to the Albany area from Utica. And, you know, she's telling me, yeah, I'll be back, da-da-da-da-da. Right? One day I'm at my grandparents' house on my father's side. She calls my grandparents' house on my father's side because her father's dead and her mother was living in, I think maybe in Maryland, right? And so she calls and says, can someone come pick me up from the bus station in Albany, right? And my grandfather's like, tell my father, go pick her up. He's like, wait a minute, this ain't gonna be a good thing for me. You know what I'm saying? That I'm going to pick her up. He was like, you better go pick her up. That's family. You know, so he rode up there and picked her up. She stayed at my father's parents' house for about 2 or 3 months until she got her own place. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And yeah, you know what I mean? So, you know, so that's how close, like, my family on either side are. You know, so for my father to take my brother, you know what I mean? It was kind of a natural thing because the families are so close, you know, but it changed my perspective a little bit, you know, as far as like me thinking before, like, dang, we out here doing this, and, you know, he's raising another family, but then he also brought me and my brother, you know, so it was, you know, that helped break down some walls for me, you know what I mean? And then, you know, as I got older, you know, we were able to talk a little bit more about just things that happened in the past and all kinds of stuff. Because I left there when I was 17. You know, I went back and lived with my mom, and then I had my own place when I was 18. You know, raising my son. You know, things moved quick in a matter of 2 years, bro.
13 to 18 is only 5 years, man. 13 to 18 is only 5 years.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, things moved quick. I mean, as we go on with this OG talk, there's so much stuff that, you know, from the age of 12 to 18 that just experiences, crazy stuff, man. From raids to all kinds of wild stuff. Like, yeah, not to share during this, but
yeah,
you know. But you know, the thing when I look at me becoming an adult, because of some of my experiences, I didn't want much advice from my dad or my mom. I felt like I could do it better. You know, because of so many things that I've been through, I was like, I think I could do it better than them. You know, when I got older, I realized that there was at least a certain point where they, you know, they didn't work together to, you know, they didn't do worked together hand in hand to raise me and my brother. But there was that point where she was really, really struggling, and she put her pride aside and said, "Can you take them?" And then he stepped up and took us, and that was like a pivotal point in my life and my brother's life, because who knows what it would have been.
You would never know it at the time,
right?
You would never know it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But as you get older, you look back and you have those conversations. Now you're growing up, you can kind of look back and kind of see, like, now you get a little bit of understanding, because you done been through some life and you got kids and stuff, and you went through some maybe similar things, and you can look back and say, okay, well, I can understand what they were going through at this particular time. I didn't know what was happening, but as I'm older looking back, I can kind of see, what was going on. You get that understanding kind of?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. You know what I'm saying? Because now when I look back, and, just as, growing up and being an adult, and I look back at times when, my dad, he was supposed to come pick me up. They were divorced. He was supposed to come pick me up, didn't come pick me up, and left me hanging in those ways. Now I look back on it and say, you know what? He was probably a young man he was coming of age still too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And didn't have, the sense of responsibility yet. Oh, this is what I should be doing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Because he was coming of age, you know what I mean? And so I can look back at it now and be like, damn, that was the growth of a person. And I look at who he is now, and that, he's, raised me, I raised my brother. I have another younger brother from his second marriage, and I have a younger sister from his second marriage, right? And he's there for them, 100%. He's there for me 100%. Whenever I go back, and I stay with my father. We have a great relationship. You know what I mean? So yeah, he, like, looking back, I can say, yeah, he was coming of age too, and I just got caught up in the mix.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's it's tough. And so with me becoming an adult, like I said, I felt like I can do it better than them. As far as adulting, that's what I was thinking. And then next thing you know, 18 years old, I got a son on the way, and I got to figure some things out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Luckily I had a strong family and support system to help with my son.
Yo, man, I didn't have nobody, bro. Coming up, that's why at 23, I was already like, thinking, that I could do it better than them. I was actively being a father, because he has a brother also. His brother is 9 years older than him. So I was raising the brother before my son came along. Wow. So that's a whole nother story, man.
Wow.
So like you made that thing, like your dad went and took your brother, but there was a point that it still hurts me to this day. I wish I can have a conversation with him, but I had to tell him that no, I'm taking my son. I can't take him, because for the simple fact is that she had the court system up my ass, man, police and all kind of stuff. I was being investigated. There's a lot of crazy stuff, man. So I had to close the door on him. I know it hurt him, you know what I'm saying, because he was calling me dad and shit. So that was crazy, man. So I mean, little stuff like that, man. When it happens, you just have to eat it, and then you have to keep moving, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here right now.
Right.
Something else I would have done something to myself if because like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like a natural thing that men, not all men, but men just cocoon this shit up and just keep it moving.
Yeah.
That it's hard
because we were kind of taught. You kind of taught as you grow up that, like I said earlier, you don't
show emotion.
You don't show emotion. Don't show weakness. All that kind of stuff.
Be a man.
I better not see you cry. You crying?
Exactly.
I hate when I hear women say that. Yo, be a man. That alone there, like who are you to say that? Like what is it? What is it to be a man?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people like you need conversations like this. You need to talk to people. You need mentorship. You need stuff like that. You need a father.
You need it. Yep.
You need all of that.
Yep.
I'm glad you had a great family and stuff like that, but I always joke with my sisters and stuff that my dad is like mentally retarded. I think, that dude is just like, he just doesn't get it, a lot of times, so, so he's always oblivious. He's like the king of the castle. I mean, the king of the castle. But meanwhile, he doesn't really know anything that's happening with me. He doesn't know my experiences. He doesn't care really. He only cares that I'm the father. Look at all my kids and like this. That's the type of person that he is. So even to this day. So going through life without no father figure, Especially too, you want to talk about like hardships of the 80s, man. You want to talk about heroin, you want to talk about the crack epidemic. So, a lot of my family was going through that type of stuff. So there was no OGs for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was
That's
the
the
OG
thing. And
by
and
myself trying to figure it
yeah.
out.
And that's the thing. Like, this show is based on hip hop, right? And I think one of the things when we talk about hip hop music that has benefited us right now is like with my dad. He was listening to, whoever he was listening to. I don't even remember everyone that he was listening to. He listened to a lot of jazz. Jimi Hendrix, he's a big Jimi Hendrix guy. Bob Marley, I'm a big Bob Marley fan because of my father. But when hip hop came along, that's what I fell in love with. He's still, he's listening to the music that he grew up on. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't have that connection there. Maybe a little bit. I think one time he was like, yeah, I like I Need Love by LL Cool J or something, right? But we didn't have that connection. I didn't know at that point, I didn't know enough about sampling to be able to say, well, Dad, listen to this and now listen to this. Like, this is from your era, this is my era. You know what I mean? But now I think we have this connection with hip hop with our kids that helps us to connect a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we talk about, being able to mentor, our kids, I think because of the way our parents did some things, I think Jay Williams right here said it good. He said a lot of us are definitely better fathers than our fathers. We don't get that credit. I think we're doing a better job of trying to mentor our kids and providing some mentorship to other people that maybe didn't grow up with, father figures and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's starting to come around a little bit. Because I think we are realizing, our generation are realizing some things that we didn't have and trying to provide it for, some of these kids who are becoming adults. But it's not easy though.
Yeah, it's never
definitely
easy.
not easy. It's definitely not easy. Right now, if you're raising kids that are becoming adults, yeah, from that 13 on up to 18, just be ready for some crazy shit to happen. I'm telling you.
And if I could add, before the 13, right? Before you get to that, cherish them moments beforehand.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? Those terrible twos.
Yeah.
Cherish them.
Cherish
you know what I
them
mean?
joints.
the Tyler ages, all like the first day of school.
Yeah.
Like cherish those moments, like because you do not get them back.
You don't.
You don't get them back. You don't get to make up for them. You know what I mean? And it does get harder. It does get harder. So those end up being the precious moments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You gotta appreciate them while they're there.
Yeah. I wonder how natural is it for a father and son to as the son is becoming an adult to really butt heads? Because it happened with me and my father, and it happened with me and my son. Now, me and my son have a great relationship. He's 30, I'm 48. We have a great relationship. I think it was just a natural butting of the heads. It wasn't like, this trauma that was there. I don't think, I guess I'd have to get that information from him, but it was this natural butting of the head. Like I'm my own man. I want to do what I want to do. Right. I mean, with me and my dad, it was like, we had, obviously there was, he wasn't there for a while. And then when I'm living with him, like he wants to put rules on me. And I'm like, why? You know what I'm saying? I've been out till 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning already doing stuff.
For
you know
years,
what I'm saying?
right?
So like, how are you going to try to tell me I can't do this and that and the third? I already been out doing things. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been living a life that you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, how can you do this? And then there was, a little bit of turmoil between, his wife at the time and me. So I was like, I told him, I said, well, at the end of my junior year, I said, when the summertime come, I'm gonna go live back with my mother. I'm gone. You know what I mean? He was like, Ain't no sense to wait till the summertime. You might as well go now. I said, all right, I'll see you later. And I packed up. My girlfriend got a car, put my stuff in the car, and went to my mother's house that day. You know what I'm saying? It was tough. I had to leave. I had to leave my brother there. That was really hard for both of us because we had never been separated up until that point. But I mean, that was gonna come within a year anyway because I was gonna be going to college. But that was a real tough point there. But I was just like, and so we butted heads, and then me and my son, me and him butted heads at almost, kind of the same thing where I'm like, what are you doing? I told you, as long as you're in school, you working, you don't have to pay no rent, you're here, boom, boom, boom. But he wanted to do things his way, and so we butted heads a little bit, and he moved out. And later he came back like, dang, Dad, I should listen to what you were saying, like, boom, 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 boom. And I was like, well, ain't like I ain't been there before. You know what I'm saying? But, he's doing his thing. He got 3 kids. He's trying to figure out how he's going to, how he's taking care of them, but he's doing a good job. And we come back around and the relationship, my relationship with my dad is there. Me and his relationship is there. So, and he has even more support raising his kids.
Yeah, how important is just to hear that you're doing a good job? How important is that, man? You know what I'm saying? Like you're going through it, trying to figure things out, and then like you like get somebody like your dad, like you tell your son he's doing a good job. How important is that?
I think it's really just big. It's huge because no matter what, you look up. It's just like just ingrained in you that you're gonna look up to your parents, no matter how much trauma or pain they put you in. You kind of still look up to them. So for you to hear from them that you're doing, they're proud of you of things that you did, you're doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? I think it means everything. It gives you a lot of confidence to say, yeah, let me keep going.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
no doubt.
Yeah,
My pops, I told you, he likes to say that I'm I'm your father. He's always saying that. Yeah, but I'm your father. That type of thing. I said, listen, man. I never forget. I hit him just like that. Listen, man. I got a living human being that I created on this earth. I got to go to work. I got other things to do. I got to go pick him up. I got to take him here. I got child support and all stuff. I don't need to hear none of that. So me and him had finally had that discussion because I always just like let him talk because. Like I tell you, me and my sister always say that he's like mentally retarded. Like he just don't get things, He doesn't understand what's happening. So when we had that moment, he was just so shocked and hurt that was happening, but he just had no clue. He had no clue. He's looking at me as a boy, even though I'm a grown man I'm living by myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I got my children, and my son's mother too. We was living together, and I was going to school, but he was still talking to me as if he had some kind of like saying what I was doing with my life, man. So. I threatened him, man. I told him I was gonna kick his ass and everything, man. So I thank God that because I wanted to do something to him, because he just wasn't getting it. I'm so glad that didn't happen, So
Yeah,
we had
too.
more than one kind of thing, but up until this day, he's still like that. He's still like that.
Yeah.
But he does give me the respect now that okay, well, but even though still, man, my pops, even though still he's like, oh, he named me after himself too, by the way. He's I'm a junior. So he said, well, junior, you gotta just I'm just like, are we doing this for real? Like so I let him talk, man. I'm like I'm 44 years old now, so I let him talk. Like, all right, bet, pops. Yeah, let me tell you something. This is how crazy he is. On Christmas, right? He calls me, right? So he's like, hey Junior, what's going on like that? So I was like, here we go, So then anyway, hey, long story short, he goes and says, yeah, man, family's important, you got to call your father and this, that, and the other. And I said, listen, Pops, you listening? I said, yo, I am with my family. You know what I'm saying? I'm with my family. I'm married. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 children. Both my sisters are here. My mother's here. My wife's mother's here. My wife's father's here. My wife's brothers are here. My wife's brother's wife is here. You know what I'm saying? We got her best friend and her kids are here. We got all this food and all this other stuff. There's toys and everything everywhere. I am with my family, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to I always have to check him like that because he still kind of don't get it. It's weird. Like you said before, like you grow up and then you kind of become peers. But then it's like almost like he became like my son now. Like I'm his father figure now.
Right.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. It is.
That is crazy.
It's crazy.
I can't really add to this dynamic because one, I don't have a son, And then just growing up, my like I never bumped heads with my dad. Like I never got disrespectful, you know what I mean? But it also was only a certain level of like respect also. So like, but I never showed out, you know what I mean? Never, I didn't see him enough. So I guess when I did see him, I kind of just cherished the moments,
Yeah.
you know, and I might not see him for another 3 months, 2 months or whatever, you know, whatever it ended up being. But
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's a journey. The one thing I can say, my dad, like at this point now, has like, in some ways, he defers to me now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, and he's always telling me like, I can't, you know, with everything that, you know, you experienced, and then, you know, you had a child at the age of 18, and you just went out there on your own, and to be able to, you know, have the success that you have had, you know, I don't know how you did it. You know what I mean? You know that, and that always makes me feel good.
Yeah.
You know, that always makes me feel good. You know, really good. So, you know, it's you know, I mean,
For him to say that,
yeah.
like I see Jay Williams, he says that generation is really stubborn. For that generation to you know to nod their head and give you that
Yep.
respect, that takes a lot too. You know.
Yeah, yeah, for real. It takes a whole lot, you know, and you know, for me, you know, it goes back to my grandfather on my father's side. Like he was the rock. Him and my grandmother, they were the rocks of the family. They were the most stable thing that we had. Everybody else was all over the place. You know, my grandmother is 93. She's going to be 94 in November. I'm 48. They have the same phone number since I can remember. The same phone number, living in the same house. My grandfather's dead, but living in the same house. So, I mean, and there's pictures of my father when he was little in that house. You know what I mean? So, I mean, they have to have been in that house. They went from this project's called the Hoppinose to that house. And they had to have been in that house. My grandmother has to have been in that house for 60 plus years. Same phone number for 60 plus years. You know, when we talk about stability, they were the epitome of stability where everybody else was all over the place. This is where you go to become stable. Oh, you don't got a place to live? We're going to go to Graham's and she'll help us become stable. There's food there. There's everything you need, you know, and this is where you're going to get your stability at till you can go back out. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know how many kids they've helped become adults through that house. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's a missing dynamic in a lot of families. A lot of you know what I mean? It's not too many people that could say, you know what I mean, great grandma's house, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or you know what I mean? Like and it's people that got memories of it, you know what I mean? I mean, but to still be able to go get that stability, you know what I mean? Like
right. Yeah. I
And
mean,
listen, man, grandma's in the club, bro.
that's pretty much
today,
unheard of
you know what I'm
now.
saying? Like my grandmother is the epitome of a grandmother. Like what you see on TV and all of that, like that's what she was. The epitome of a grandmother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was sweet, very sweet, but she could be really strict. And you know, she was actually the school aide at one of my elementary schools.
Okay.
You know, it was good and bad because, you know, during lunch, here's 35 cents, go get some ice cream. But then as soon as we get on the playground, she put me on the wall. You know what I'm saying? For breaking the rules or something like that. But, you know, yeah, they've been, you know, the epitome. I don't want to talk too much about my grandmother because I'm gonna start crying. Something like that. Cause, you know, she's older, you know what I mean? She's like, it's getting to that point. She got one foot in the grave, one on a banana peel. It's coming. That joint is coming, bro. I ain't ready for it. I'm not ready for it. Even though I know I'm not ready for it.
It won't be OG talk if you don't almost cry. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? I'm not ready for that one, bro. I am not. It hurt me to my heart when my grandfather passed away. I know when you know, I don't even like talk about when that time comes. So
let's move on.
Yeah, we move on from that one.
Well, generations though. That generation that you're talking about, they were probably the strongest generation. You want to talk about World War II and all that, the 1940s and all that era. There was some strong people, man. They stayed together for 50 years. They had 20 kids. They lived together, died together. You know what I'm saying?
And
now, fast forward to this generation. Like I was saying, grandma's in the club twerking still. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy now.
Yeah.
Even my mom. My mom don't even babysit our kids. She don't even call the kids. But my wife's mom is older, and she's kind of the tail end of that generation. There's not one day that she does not call at least more than 3 times, man. You know what I'm saying? And if all you got to do is mention it, next thing you know, something's getting shipped to the house, or when we go over there, we come out the house with grocery bags and different things. Where are they getting this money from? These people are fixed income. They getting checks and stuff. Where are they getting it from? But they make things happen out of nowhere, man. They're just the strongest generation.
They getting it from the mattress, Ebro. That's where the money is.
Right.
Oh, under here, right? Inside the
money.
No, for real. They are. They gotta be, man. And for so many of them, just as a couple, when you talk about grandparents, no matter what happened within the relationship, they're like, we figuring out how to make this happen. Because when I look at my grandparents, man, my grandfather was a truck driver on the road. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I mean? I don't know nothing, but I know about truck drivers on the road. And he'd leave out 3:00 in the morning. My grandmother would wake up 3:00 in the morning to make him breakfast. He'd leave out. He wouldn't get back until 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, or sometimes the next day, or a day or two afterwards. You know what I mean? This was every single day. And then she'd be home to make him dinner. And he just entrusted all the money to her. He used to always tell jokes I think she's robbing me though. You know what I mean? I just gave her my check, and now she's saying she needs more money. What's going on? But then he was but then the mortgage was paid 10 years early or something like that, because she was putting all the money on the mortgage. You know what I mean? They found a way to make it work. Today we're like, oh, what? Nah, all right, I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The littlest thing, people break up nowadays, man.
Yeah, definitely the strongest generation. Got to be.
Yeah, and they stayed together through the biggest things, kid out of wedlock.
Whole families.
Yeah,
he could stay here.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly that, because that's how my grandparents. I mean, when I say everybody came there and was raised there, everybody. I mean, you just heard how they took. Go get his mother. She needs to be here. They took on, two of my young cousins. They're in their 70s, and my cousins are 12, 13 years old, but they raised them from the time they were a baby and 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? Because of some trauma with their mother. Everyone in our family was raised there. Yeah. You know what I mean? So. I don't know how we get that back, but when we talk about kids becoming adults, they need that stability somewhere. So that they have have you ever so that they have a center, right? Just a center that they can always fall back into. If you ever stand and you stand on one foot, if you keep your eyes open, you can balance, right? Because you have equilibrium. You can center. Either foot, you stand out, you can center. As soon as you close your eyes, you lose that center, and it's hard to stand. It's really, really hard to stand on that one foot now. You know what I'm saying? Because you lose your center. I challenge people, just give it a try and see how hard it is to balance. And it's when you have a nucleus that's stable, that's your center. They can always help you to get balanced. You know what I mean? Before you go back out there. That's what, my grandparents were for everybody.
You got activities for the chat? I'm about to try it as soon as we get up. It's gonna be a TikTok challenge soon. The first TikTok
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You definitely need that stability, man. Sometimes the families, when that one person passes away, the whole family just crumbles. You know what I'm saying? That's amazing how that happens.
Yep.
know?
Yeah, that is
We
amazing
need to
how
get
that
it back,
happened. Yeah.
Shout out to my father's side of the family too for, starting a Facebook group chat
There you go.
and they're doing like family get-togethers once a month, and I gotta make it a priority to get to one of those because I keep missing them. But shout out to them for putting that together too, because
Yeah.
you need that. That's a start. You know what I mean? That's part of how you bring it back.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Are you doing that too, Sim? Do you guys have a family chat too? That you?
I started one, but it hasn't really taken off like that. There's a few people in there, but we just haven't been consistent. But me and my cousin, he's on my mother's side, we started doing a family reunion. So we did two of them we did one the last 2 years, right? So this summer we'll do the third one. And it's because my family on either side are so close, it's like, we're doing both at the same time. You know what I mean? So, we're hoping like that's going to continue to, grow and becomes where we are able to, bring the family together. And what made us do it, we talked about doing it for a really long time. But then 2 years ago, my uncle, the only male on my mother is one of 8 siblings, right? And he was the only male in that group of siblings. And when he passed away, everybody was crushed. My uncle-in-law, I guess, is what you would call him. He said, he looked at me and my cousin and he was like, you guys are the eldest in the family, the eldest men in the family, like biologically in the family, not married, and it's up to you to bring everybody together. We took it serious.
Right.
I said, because he's still our uncle. We just call him my uncle. Him and my aunt, they're actually divorced, but he's still, he's our uncle. He from the time we was young, So, but we took it serious, when he said that.
Yeah, I was just asking about the group chat because me and Tony, I got a group chat too, and that group chat is crazy. We snapping on each other, and like it's fun because we love each other, man. Like I was talking about the generation above us, they all fighting, they moved far away, but us cousins, man, we like, we're all super tight. So one of my cousins are getting married, man. So we all going to Memphis, and we're gonna tear Memphis down.
That's
Man.
what's up.
So
That's what's up.
I can't wait to that. What you gonna say, Tony? My bad.
I think I lost it. It was something based off what Sam was saying. Let me think about it though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that's what's up.
What I was gonna say is that's always how it happens. And I swear to you, I could probably say 15 times where, it's always a death in the family or something that is not a good event that we gathering for. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we gotta stop meeting this way. Like the next one's gotta be for a reunion. So we've been saying this for years. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we only get together at a funeral. We only get together when somebody's sick. Like, we gotta stop that. We gotta start getting together for the hell of it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because it's Wednesday. Exactly. Like,
yeah,
that's true.
And these kids,
we all experience that, man.
Yep. Yeah. And these kids that's coming up just needs the support, especially with so many broken families. Especially in communities of color. You know what I mean? Like they just need the support of people around them that love them. You know what I mean? Whether or not these people might not be able to give you money or do anything like that, but just the support of, having a group, having a tribe. I think it's
being present
huge.
now. Being present.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just huge. You know what I mean?
You mentioned that you're basically the older men in the family.
Yeah,
I am the one. I'm the one. I have another uncle too. But me and my uncle we're like peers now because we kind of went through the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
So me and him have that bond, forever, man. But basically, even he told me, he said, man, you're the one, man. You're the oldest one. So all the cousins are looking up to you, and they all tell me that too. So there's a lot of pressure, it's definitely a lot of pressure being in that position, man. But
It is.
it helps to it just helps to be there. My older female cousin, she always every time I see her, first thing she do, she kisses in front of me and she stands like this, like that, because she's like, like I told you, like then she tells me off, but that's what you
Right.
need. The black woman is the strongest thing in the universe,
In
and
the
that's what she
universe.
is.
In the
I might be
universe.
the one, but she's the backbone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And she can make me feel like this, and feel like this at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I mean, but you don't get those conversations unless you're present.
That's it. That's it. That's it, man. Great conversation.
Yeah, no doubt.
Kids becoming adults, man. It was a great conversation for all the people that stuck around throughout, the entire conversation. We're definitely grateful for you. I don't know. What do we want to talk about next? In the chat, what do you think we should talk about next? You know what I mean? There's so many topics we can get into, and talk about, because so many of them. I don't know. Any ideas, any thoughts? What we should talk about next?
There's so many things that in life that needs to be touched, man, unpacked.
Unpacked. Yeah. You know what I mean? Unpacked. This show is gonna make me. I know I'm gonna cry on one of these. So me and Tony was just talking about it last show. Eagle. As you get older, man, you start shedding tears easier, bro. Like I don't. You know what I'm saying?
I can make it if you start crying, man. Because you scared me when we first started it. Like I was on the side. Next thing I hear Jesus calling me, like what? Like, I said, "Oh, what? That's Sim talking, right?" So you probably got like one ugly ass cry, man.
Oh
So
man, bro, I'm not
that.
trying to do it, but we keep talking about some of these topics. I know with some of the things that I talk about, I might shed a tear or two.
Yeah, I almost cried last show, and I didn't think I was gonna be able to hold it back. So I know it's gonna come out one of these shows for sure.
It is, because and you can feel it. When it's coming. The first time that I like cried around like my group of my family was when my brother was getting married, right? Mm-hmm. And he was having a destination wedding in Mexico, and I had a party at my house for a family that couldn't make it, to go to Mexico. I was actually the only one from his side of the family that went, because I was the only one that could go. And for the week leading up to the party, like I was just going over and thinking about all the stuff that me and him been through together, and how I felt so great that we made it to this point. Right, and I'd be cutting the grass, and I could feel my chest welling up. I'm like, "Yo, come on, man! Like, I gotta talk about this during the party," and so I could feel it coming. And then, him and his wife was in the middle. There was a circle around them, and everybody was telling like little stories or whatever. And when I started telling mine, as soon as I blurted one word out, I just started breaking down. Everybody was looking at me like, what? Because none of my kids, my wife, no one see me cry. You know what I'm saying? My mother and my father when I was little, but not as an adult. Man, I just started breaking down. As I was talking about it, I just broke down. I was like, damn, freak it, just let it go. You know what I'm saying? No sense in trying to hold it back. It's too late.
I had a similar thing at a wedding, same way. That might have been the first time my daughter seen me cry too, and I never even put that into perspective until just now, because I can't even think of another time I cried in front of my daughter, other than a funeral.
Yeah, right. So that was, I mean, I haven't done anything like that since then. You know what I'm saying? But that was the first time anybody, I could see everyone looking at me like, holy cow, I can't believe he just started crying like that. You know what I'm saying? My brother started crying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just contagious. Next thing everybody's crying, right?
Yeah. Like the coolest said, he's not lying. He said, men holding so much is great. You guys not afraid to show sensitivity on the emotion. Afraid to show sensitivity and emotions. And yeah, it's true. You know what I mean? like we were saying, you know, you're taught not to show your feelings, have emotions and all of that stuff. I guess when you get older, you know, somebody told me the other day that, you know, because I was talking about me and Tony's conversation, and she was like, yeah, that's repressed feelings. I was like, you think so? She was like, yeah. I think that's repressed feelings, you know, that you've held in for so long, and then now things starting to come out as you get older. I'm like, damn, man, that means I might be doing a lot of tears dropping.
That's 100% what it is. I know that's what it is for myself.
Yeah.
Because for the longest, I didn't speak about like my childhood. I didn't talk about nothing growing up. You know what I mean? So I know I got stuff built in that, you know, the wrong movie might bring it out.
You know what's funny though? The older you get, like it's scientific now. You can get low testosterone.
Yeah,
So I think
exactly.
that's what it is.
Yeah,
you know, you got low testosterone.
I said that to her. I said, "You sure it's not just low testosterone?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, literally, like the other day, I was, you know, my window was open. I could hear people on like the other deck having a birthday party for this little girl, and I didn't cry at nothing, but I guess got emotional about it. It was like, dang, you know, that's all right. They're having a birthday party. It was just a birthday party, but you know what I'm saying? You know, I could feel emotion like welling up in my chest. I'm like, dang, what is this? What's going on?
Well, I'm looking at Jay Williams' quote there. He says, getting older is tough because you see all the people you love start dying. It builds strength if it doesn't break you. But, you know, to add to that, you see people dying too. But as they're dying, you're starting to see the young ones getting older too.
Yeah.
So you're watching them going through their stuff, and now you're old, and like you can't, you know, you're at a space now where, you know, you're old and nothing really much going to change what's going on with you. But then you can see the change coming up too. So that's emotional too.
Right.
You know, because you can also, you feel, it's like you got seniority now. You feel, you feel retirement tugging on your back a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
for real. Yeah, no doubt.
And the world changes, and as you get older, you gotta try to keep up with the world. You know what I mean? The advances in technology, the advances in society. Like I could only imagine with some of these older gentlemen, you know what I mean? Like, you know, 20 years older than I am, and because it was an adjustment period for me with the transition in, you know, TV and, you know, I know what I'm talking about. So I can only imagine somebody whose mentality is 20 years older, where it is, they didn't see none of it as a youth, you know what I mean? And now they like, what is this world coming to?
Yeah, tell me about it. Right.
So
my man Keeping It Around said, fellas, I'll be crying looking at these videos of military people surprising their kids. Yeah.
Yeah, that's some still Nick's Ron right there.
Yeah. And he also said, oh, that's the next show, realizing that you're older than all these young people today. I want in on that one. That's, you know, that's actually a big one, because it's so many guys I see out there that's trying to still be young and not realizing that they're older and they should be the ones that, you know, are mature and giving guidance and wisdom and stuff like that, but they still trying to be 30.
Yeah, man, I know guys still on the block.
Age, man. Yeah.
50 something years old, still on the block.
Right.
Like, what is going on, man?
You know what I mean? The coolest said, I get emotional watching Pursuit of Happiness. That makes me emotional too, because that, you know, I relate to that a little bit.
You said watching? Like you watch it more than once? That was a one-time thing for me. I ain't watching that movie.
I got a confession. I watch Love Is Blind, and I get emotional watching that, man. Love Is Blind. You ever guys watch Love Is Blind?
I'm not sure what that is, so I don't think I've seen it.
I've seen the advertising for it. I haven't watched it.
Disregard it then. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, you know, you guys, you know, I got pulled into it, so whenever it comes on, I'm sitting there with the popcorn, like, oh my God, is there, you know, like.
I'm about to Google it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I ruined your life, Tony. Man.
It's so. Oh man, but anyway, yeah, I think it's a great conversation. Probably could go on forever.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I guess we need to have a consistent schedule when we do it, so we can. You know what I mean? But next topic, want to know.
Wednesday sounds like a good day, though. If the Knicks aren't playing,
Yeah.
The only night that's really tough for me is Friday night because most of the time I'm open on Saturday. So
right. I mean, Wednesdays could be a good good day to do it. Maybe every once in a while it might adjust, and then after the playoffs we can get into just being consistent at a certain day and time.
right?
That on Wednesdays at a certain time.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get up out of here. We appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. So far we're getting a lot of good feedback from the show. If you have ideas for topics, please make sure you leave it in the comment section. Put it in the chat. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Share it out to everybody. Tony, any last words you want to say before we rock?
Just appreciate to everybody in the chat tuning in, and like you said, Sim, feedback is the key for us right now. You know what I mean? What you like, what you think we should talk about, any topics, all that. We greatly appreciate that.
We need all of that. No doubt. Ebru?
Nah, man, I got a problem. I can't stop talking. I always got something to say. So I'm gonna love doing this show, man, with you guys. I always got something to contribute, man. So can't wait to continue the conversation with everyone.
Yeah, this is gonna be a great show. I love it, ladies and gentlemen. Out of here.
Yeah, come experience life as we know it, as some of you should know it. Yeah. Place, Marcy, Brooklyn.